Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. Welcome to GKK's session on GKK Enable series. So we normally have sessions on career development. Today we are going to focus on what do you call the big data. How do you make the transition into, first of all, what is big data? How do you make the transition? What are the carriers related to big data, and how do you make the transition into it, right? So please feel free to ask questions. We are also on Facebook Live under how to say under the GKK Facebook. I see more people coming in. Yeah, so and as usual we want to do this with more impact. So again, thanks for your time, Ms. Selva, and also Mr. Magin. Ms. Selva is one of the leading recruiters, and also she has a very good platform called Synopsis, founder of Synopsis. Hi, Ms. Selva, thanks for your time on a Tuesday evening. Right, so
Hello.
yeah, so she can give a very good background on the industry itself, because she is doing the actual hiring. She's talking to employers, so she knows what's happening on the ground. And we have Mr. Magin. Mr. Magin, one of our top big data trainers and consultant. So I think with us itself, he has done a lot of trainings, Power BI trainings, big data trainings, and he's also doing a lot of consultancy work, so hands-on. So he will be able to give a lot of insight into the skills part of it.
Hi, hello.
Thanks. So, okay, so we start without further ado. And if you have any questions, as usual, you can put it in the chat, and then we take it from there. All right. So, yes, so I'm from GKK Consultants. We have trained and certified more than, actually, numbers need to be updated, 500 plus retrenched people over the last 1 year. We've done a lot of job placement. More than 150 plus people have been placed. We also have a Telegram group for people who are searching for jobs. You can also look us up on gkkenable.com. Done a lot of programs over the years. So this is one of part of a series of programs we do for knowledge sharing. Those that you know have retrenched, if you don't know, please apply for SOXO EIS incentive. You can get an incentive from government, a monthly incentive. And on top of it, you can avail a certification program. So that's where GKK has a lot of programs. One of it is big data. So as I was doing a lot of this, I realized that that's why we are going into the series, certain technologies and certain skill sets. What are the gaps actually, and how people can transition into it? Because we also understand that people who are retrenched, your job may be obsolete already, but your skill is not obsolete. Like yesterday, I read somewhere on a Gartner report, right? There's a lot of what's happening in the US and all. Maybe Selva again can add in. They are actually looking at how to take a person from a different industry and condition them to the new industry, because that guy's industry is extinct already, right? So very surprisingly, we're talking NLP guy can pick up Python. First time in my life I read that, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I never thought of that, because NLP guy has that, visualization or something, so he can pick up the Python programming. So they are looking at that in US. That's the level people are going to. So I feel that once in a while we'll have these kind of sessions where it could open up your mind. Maybe your industry is obsolete, but who knows? Like a quality guy, I don't know. I'm just thinking while a quality guy good in statistics, that industry a bit obsolete, but big data is thriving. So perhaps you could transition to it, right? And perhaps we can help you upskill, or we can explore, right? So that's the whole thought process of it, right? Okay, so without further ado, I pass the floor to Ms. Selva, who can walk through us on the carriers and big data, and also take any questions.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Selva here, the founder of Synopsis Technology Recruitment. So we actually focus into purely all kind of tech hiring, big data, cybersecurity, infra and application, all kind of hiring. So if you are looking for a job, do reach out to us, and we will try our best to help you guys. Okay. Okay. Shall we move to the next slide?
Yeah, sure.
So there are a number of roles. I think, Magin, do you want to speak about it, or you want me to
Okay, you
go with
continue.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. So big data, there are actually multiple roles, right? To make it, to summarize it, I would say it is not similar with, you can't compare big data space with security or infra or application. The reason is because the title is sometimes people get confused with the title. So for example, if you look into cybersecurity or infra, it will be pretty straightforward where the title could be analyst is a junior, where entry level, and then next you go to senior, and then lead, specialist, manager, senior manager, and directors. But a data engineer, guys, a junior, a freshie is called as a data engineer, and also a guy who with 5 years or 10 years experience also at times called as data engineer. So it's purely depends on the years of experience instead of title. So sometimes when you look for a job, if you come across such title, and you feel like you're senior and okay, oh, data engineer is just an engineering job, it seems like a junior, don't skip it. Do read about the job description, because when come to the years of experience, it could be a senior opening. So data engineer is very much into a technical role where you involve into hands-on side. So that is what is been explained in the summary, where data after the data analysis is divided into two groups. So data analysis and administration is very much into the operation side. And then we have the technical group where the data engineers, the hands-on guys comes in. So these guys will be involving into analyzing, reporting, extract data. So all this will be the engineering part. Okay. And the next one. So data architect is pretty much a senior hiring or senior position in an organization. So as long as if they have a architect title, they will be on a C level or a senior management level. So architect, the word itself, it means that somebody that comes out with a blueprint. So for example, a data architect, they will be working with the C level or above mid-senior position people, work with different business units to decide what kind of architecture they need to come out with in the data function on an enterprise level. So they will be dealing with different business unit heads, ask them their suggestion and what kind of reporting they're supposed to do, what are the recommendations they need to provide for an organization. So they will be on a senior people who actually manage the data engineers, the technical guys, and they will be dealing with all the CISO, CIO, CTO people. So if you're on a senior position, you're in a managerial or senior manager, or even if you're an individual contributor who planning to be hands-on on a long run, then data architect is a role for you. Okay. Data warehouse managers, they are very much into analysis and a profession. They will be, I would say it's a mixture of, at times it can be technical, at times it can be a management role as well. So if you know about ETL, if you're already into data, you pretty much have heard it. So somebody who worked with into ETL function. So they call it as a data warehouse managers. So just because they have a title manager doesn't mean it's a managing role. They can be individual contributor. It's just because they manage the data warehouse function, the title is manager. All right. And the next one. So it's pretty similar with the data warehouse, database manager as well is pretty similar. They will be very much into work with the storage, hardware, maintenance, or they work closely with the database guys or the infra guys who are the system engineers or administrators. But as we know, infra is eventually moving into AI, artificial intelligence, or a DevOps side, right? So these guys will be working closely with the DevOps people, or whoever that moving from a technical or typical infra function moving into this part into DevOps. So they will be working with the database guys. Okay. BI analysts are very much into analyst job. So there's a difference between BI analyst or BA analyst. We can call as BI or BA analyst. And there is a difference between engineers. So as we said just now, engineer guys are all those technical guys, right? And BI analyst is somebody who actually involved into different business unit, work with different business unit, gather data and identify what kind of business decision to make a better decision. So they gather the data, they work with the system engineers or data engineers, and they decide what kind of better decision or business decision they can actually provide for as an organization as a whole, based on whatever the data they actually gather from different business units. Right. The next one. So data scientist is, again, as I said as just now, title can be, some guys with an entry level, less than 3 years of experience also call as a data scientist, and somebody with 10 years of experience also call as a data scientist. So you need to look into what is the requirement of the role, right? So data scientist is also, just now me and Magin were discussing, so title can be sometimes misleading, where it just could be a data engineer role, but as some companies put the title as data scientist. So you need to look into the requirement, what kind of expectation or the skill the company actually looking into. So data scientist is more of a technical role as well, because they involve into designing and modeling of or how they can actually use the data to produce a better result or better response or feedback or profit for an organization. Okay. So data modular is those people that actually work or on a large volume of data. So we have like structured data, unstructured data, and things like that. So these people will be working on the volume and identify how to segregate it according to the usage of other business units. So they will be dividing these details into sub-functions and put it into data that actually able to be used by the business unit as an organization as a whole as well. So they will divide it and gather the reports for businesses, and so that it can be used in a proper way for the business or for the organization as a whole to produce a better result. Okay. Data analysts, these guys will be more of operational side. So same like they will be working closely with the data modular, where they work on a large volume of data, turning into insightful business that can leverage into better decisions. So data analyst guys are more of a reporting side, operational side. Most of the companies, to be honest, they have a system already that actually can produce these reports. So the analyst guys' job will be very much extract the data, look into the reports, and dedicated to the people or a business unit or the managers who actually need to look into that and what kind of solution they can actually make. So most of current roles we can pretty much we can see in LinkedIn or any job portal, a lot of data analyst roles are available. But to be honest, for somebody that want to start a career into data, this can be a starting point for them to understand how the entire function is actually works. Okay.
So yes, before we go, thanks, Mr. Silva. Before we go into Mr. Magin's part on big data and the skills needed, just question. So let's say if I think there's many people on the mind also, they don't have knowledge. I mean, they don't have experience in doing like a real big data role. What you suggest from a recruitment point of view, or from a hiring point of view, how can they make the transition? What are the areas they need to look for, or how they can condition themselves? Is it like a data analyst, some kind of a way to get into it? Of course, data scientist is not possible, right? Because they don't have any experience in it, etc. But what will be an ideal way, or is there a way or something we can plan for? Because I know this is something, because a lot of them, I believe on this session, maybe retrenched. The role that is like what we were talking earlier, role is not really, is obsolete already. They cannot go back to that same role, or they want to try something new.
Yeah.
But what's sad to see is many of them, in the midst of trying something new, a lot of so I mean, sorry, I'm not highlighting anybody, but some providers promise them a lot of things, training providers. They sign up for some courses overseas and all that, but end of the day they come out, they can't, they
Yeah.
still can't get a job, right? Employers are not giving them the chance. So what would be a practical way to look at it? Is there anything?
I'll say, to be honest, talking about Malaysia, still the transition is very difficult, regardless of its big data or any other function, right? If you want to go from one to one, it's still being a challenge. At least like infra guys can go into security somehow if they have worked in system engineering and things like that. But coming into data or application guys moving into this, it's really challenging from an infra guy to a big data. So if you're on a junior level or anybody with less than 4 or 5 years experience into IT, at least there is a chances. But the more senior you become, making the the changes convert into something else is going to be very challenging. The reason is because if let's say you're from application, you are a development manager, and then all of a sudden you want to go into data, right? They're definitely not going to give you a manager position because the relevant experience into data is not there. So of course they won't give a similar position. Very much even if they consider you, they will ask you to go into a very junior position and go for a pay cut. So at times it depends on the faster that you make the transition in your career with the 2 years or 3 years of experience is way better you being in the industry for like 10 years and then you want to make this transition, right? Unless you're okay to go for a huge pay cut, then it's something that's doable. So talking about it, how can we do that if you're from a different function? Again, to be honest, most of the recruiters or the HR are still being a keyword recruiters, and they post in LinkedIn, whatever application they get it, they just pass it to the hiring managers, right? And when the hiring managers look into, they feel like, okay, these guys do not have relevant experience. Why am I getting the CVs? So the best thing would be in your resume. So that is the first selling point, that your resume is going to speak. That's going to create the first impression. So if you have involved any project in your company or in your past companies, keep the certificates aside, because certificates is just going to be an added advantage if you have that without a relevant experience. But if you have involved into certain project, or if you have worked closely with data people in your company, do highlight it as an achievement or part of your job scope. So for now, looking into the market, as you say, like the US is already picking up and all, we are still outdated. We are not there yet. So the only way that we can create an opportunity for ourselves is putting it, if you want to go into that, always customize your CV according to the role that you're applying. Just put it as an additional information in part of your job responsibilities or achievement. State what kind of data projects or what type of function have you involved. Maybe if you're working with a client serving environment, I'm sure there will be plenty of projects you'll be working on, and there could be 1 or 2 projects that you have involved into where the companies is moving into AI transition or going into machine learning, M2M, this kind of technologies. So if you have worked on that kind of environment or worked with these people or system, add that into the CV. So when people use a keyword and search for it, at least your profile will pop up. So you win the first successfully, your CV will be there. Yeah. So I think for now, this would be the only suggestion that we actually can say, instead of going, because a lot of people still think that I'm going into the certification, so I can go into the job, but it doesn't work like that. So to be, and whatever requirements that we are receiving from clients, certification, they just mention it as an added advantage, right? It's not a mandatory at all. So they don't even look into that.
Correct. That's a very good point. I mean, to say GKK, we're very honest about it. Like even those who retrench, they want to take some fancy course. I always check with them. I think hi Rizwan, hi, few of them are there. Some of them I connect with.
Okay.
I straight away ask, what's your background, what's the experience? Then based on that we tell them, because certification is one thing. Yes, it's an added advantage, but experience, right? And but I think that's a good point. Thanks for sharing that. Basically, the resume update, so even the ATS will pick it up, right? If it's doing the search, or even someone is checking the CV. So I think it's a good point. Thank you, Ms. Selva. So okay, so that's very good. Thanks, Selva, for your time. Really good to share what are the careers out there. I didn't know there's a data modeler. I know there's data analyst, data scientist, because all the while the buzz is there. I didn't know there's data modeler. There's few other roles that just now you put there. So it's very very insightful actually.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Really nice of you on that. So now we pass the floor to Mr. Magin, it's our key trainer and also a consultant in big data. Give us a view of big data analytics, what it is, what are the skills required, and what's needed from our side. Right.
Thank you, Rajin. Very good sharing by Ms. Selva as well. Thank you. I think by looking at all the positions now, I'm very much confident, high confident in big data industry.
Yeah, last time there was only 2, right? I think Ms. Selva has shared about 10, isn't it? But 8, at least about 8.
8, yeah. Yes. It's all end of the day come back to big data. Okay, let's start. What is big data? this is the questions that I get. I'm involved in big data almost the last 5 to 6 years. Big data. What is big data? How big is the data? Okay. Big data, the data that's stored in server, or the data that stored in clouds, or the data that stored in computer. That is what is data. Big data is all about. It's not the size of the data. Say example, if you cannot transmit or you cannot send the data through email, you need to put in a Google Drive. Say example, most of us will put in Google Drive. We will send the link. The moment the data is in Google Drive, that's what we call big data. Basically, the data already stored. Okay, so let's look at big data and in a perception of data analytics. Okay, big data analytics. What is that? What is big data analytics is all about? End of the day, why do we need to analyze the data? Why do we need to analyze the data, and what do we going to get? Okay, that's what you're going to you in the screen now, where big data analytical is the often complex process. Yes, it is a complex process. There are many types of data, and we need to analyze. When we analyze, what do we get? Okay, what kind of analytics, what kind of analysis that we need to do? For example, hidden pattern. We need to find out what kind of pattern, what kind of data is that? Correlation. What kind of correlation do we have in that particular data? Market trend. What is market trend? How are we going to do the trend analysis? Customer preference. These are the core things in big data analytical. End of the day, if you look at the screen, big data analytics is decisions. Every analysis that we do, end of the day, is to make a business decisions. That's why many organizations, many companies, it's not, if you talk about big data analytic or data scientists, it's no longer for IT company, no at all. Every organization needs big data now to make a decision. I'd like to give an example. Say Petronas, say example Petronas or oil and gas companies. If you look at oil and gas companies, all of them have a loyalty card. For us, the loyalty card to collect a point and redeem our whatever that we want to redeem based on our points. But for the oil and gas company, it is more than that. For them, it is a data. If you talk about this, say example, oil and gas company, 1998, they have started this loyalty card. Every one of them so excited, jump into it. But for oil and gas company, this is data. So way back in 1988, people already working on data. I myself is involved in a project with Petronas called Central Information System, where we will pull the data and analyze, okay, how many customer they get. So what kind of items that I need to sell? What are the things that I need to display just next to the counter? So these are the things that business decision, what we call is business decision based on analytics. So the guy who comes for petrol or diesel, whatever. So this guy comes inside the petrol station to buy or not? So this kind of analytics, this one is already starts way back in 1998, 1996, I'm talking about. That's why when it comes to big data analytics or big data or data scientists or data modeler or whatever position just now was shared by Ms. Siva, it's not for IT company alone. It is now for any organization. They need data to make a decision. Another experience also I'd like to share is recently I've done work with one of the bank. So surrounds this bank, this particular area, they have about 12 banks. I can say all the banks is there. Maybank or whatever banks, Standard Chartered, foreign banks, everyone is there. This particular bank, based on analysis, we found out their customer, 50% above, 50% of their customer is age above 55. Yeah, above 55 and above, their banking customer. So we check why this particular bank is not very famous or very number one bank. No, it's not. But why? So when we found out the reason why they must always like 50% of customer age 55 and above. out of their, they have a few thousand client customer, but 50% is 55. Why? Then when we narrow, all these things we're doing it by analyzing it, the data set. Why? Then they came to know the only reason this particular branch or this particular bank at that particular area is because opposite in front of the bank there's a free parking. That's the only reason. So now the bank had to make a decision. Am I need to sell the same product that I'm selling in all other branches, or I need to specific, it means I need to customize the product that I wanted to sell? Because now my customer is, most of them is age 55 and above. So I cannot be selling something and telling them, hey, why not you buy this product? Why not you invest in this mutual fund or whatever it is, that your return will be, in 20 years. They don't care about 20 years. These people, they want to see something in short term. So based on that, the bank decide what kind of product to sell. So that's why I said, even talking about oil and gas, you're talking about bank or construction industry, any industry, they need data analysts, they need data scientists in their company. It's no longer this position or this particular work is for IT company, no longer. Every one of them, they want to know, because for them, the data is protected, their data. So they cannot simply give it to a outsourced company, hey, I have a data, can you analyze for me? No longer. So that's why big data analytic or data scientist or data analyst, data modeler, whatever positions is for them, because data is a goal, a new goal, and it's like a commodity on daily basis. And now, like example, pharmaceutical company, they also making a decisions on what kind of medicine to sell, for which, for medical industry, what kind of medical equipment that I need to buy, what kind of customer, what kind of client, what kind of patient that I'm going to have. All this is based on data. Even hospital, they're hiring a data analysis, data scientist, data warehousing, insurance company. Okay, all these people have a data. So they need to make a decisions based on the data. Even politician, one of the politician, the famous politician, Obama, in 2008, he's the one of the first one to use data in order for him to win the election. And another president, where the same president where used data, and Trump, you all know what happened to him. So all is based on data, but who going to analyze? The people who behind the data, the people who are going to analyze the data. That's what is data is all about nowadays. Mr. Kajin, the next slide. So data classification. When we talk about data, we can classify data in many ways, but I would like to make it a simple in three ways. Next slide. Structured, unstructured, multi-structured, or hybrid. Okay, what is structured data? Structured data is every data that's stored nicely in organization. Every organization, they have a server or they have a cloud. So where all the data, when we talk about structured data, HR data, their finance data, their sales data, and their operational data. Like example, traffic lights sending a signal. So that signal sent to a control center. So the control center knows, nowadays, if you look at traffic lights, the traffic lights works based on the traffic. So all this data, which is stored nicely, we call structured data. What is unstructured data? Whatever data, basically the simple example is social media. Every likes that you like in your Facebook or in any social media, contents, your reply, your response, the image that you upload, all these things we call unstructured, because nobody manage it. So whenever you need, say example, as a politician, I want to know in my area, my zone or my parliament, so how many people talk good about me, how many people talk bad about me. So I'm extracting the data. This particular data, when I extract from social media, that's what we call unstructured data. Multi-structured or hybrid, it is the data that we have, but we don't do anything with the data. For example, we have a currency conversion. Everyone has the data. It's actually a structured, but why it's multi-structured? It is not for use on daily basis or something like that, unless you extract the data and you analyze it. Like data from drone, many people are using drone, so the signals comes from the drone. Also, we call multi-structured. I have the data, but I don't really using it, or I not structured the data properly. So this is what we call data classification. So it's all depend. There's some kind of other kind of everybody have all kind of term, but these are the standard terms that I like to share today. See the next slide. Okay, characteristic of big data. There are 7 now, but I would like to share 5 here first. Where volume, huge amount of data. All these are characteristic of big data. Variety, different format of data from various sources. Nowadays, when you talk about data, it is like let's going like nobody business. On the daily, you, me, every one of us have a smartphone. All of us are contributors to the data. Nowadays, it is not Magin anymore. Magin is a data for everybody, because I'm carrying a handphone and I'm contributing a data. The moment I like, the moment I post any information, everything is become a data. You providing a data. They are no more for business world. You are just a data. They need you because of data. Okay, value, extract useful data. Every data that you extract, there's a value for it. Okay, if you're a politician, it's a different value. If you are looking at your products, the people who respond about the product. For example, if you look at Starbucks page, Facebook page, they have about 600 Starbucks Malaysia. But you look at it, the amount of people who respond to their content is very much lesser compared to Secret Recipe, where they have about 400 followers, but they created much more data. And I can see Secret Recipe really using a right content, and they are analyzing it. So when you compare, that's where, how do you value your data? The next is velocity. Velocity is the speed of the data. How fast you can send the data. For example, like you go to any petrol station, you put your credit card, within a minute, before even you open your cap for petrol is approved. That is the speed. People are going into that kind of speed. Even in Malaysia, we're still fighting for the speed, but in other part of the world, velocity, the data speed is become very, very important. So if you come into the big data, you want to learn about big data, you will see all these things. All this information is very important to learn and to understand big data before even go into analytical. But these are the fundamental things that you need to know before you come into big data. And veracity, inconsistent and uncertainty in data. And they also, veracity, we can call another name of veracity, they call dark data. There are so much of data still not touched, still not extract, still not analyzed. There are much more information is stuck in dark data. Next slide, Steve. What happens in an internet minute? That's what I said. All of us are contributing to data. There are so much of data now in the planet. So every one of us are contributing, and you can look at it here. This is, I think it's about 2 or 3 years back informations, where YouTube contributing 1.3 million, Google 2+ million, is now more than that. Facebook 6 millions. All these things per minute. In every minute we are contributing data. This is, we're talking about internet. How about device data, signaling data, flight data, and medical data, and many other data. Just imagine the growing of data. Next slide. So based on the previous slides, if you look at so much of data coming in, there's so much data available. Just imagine the opportunity in big data. That's why I showed that the previous slide, where when there's so much data, definitely the opportunity also so huge. Okay, let's look at some example. I have set some example. Let's look at Starbucks. If I ask you what is Starbucks business, definitely all of us going to say it's a coffee business. Do you know that in last 5 years, they're already no longer in coffee business. They are into a data. They are tech company. Why I say that? Because their business, the coffee that they wanted to sell, the outlet they wanted to open, everything based on data. They are moving out from coffee business into a real estate because they are deciding, they know what kind of customer are visiting their stores, what kind of customer are buying their coffee. So based on that, say example, if they open a Starbucks outlet, in an area, they will know what kind of customer they have. Based on the customer, they try to acquire more real estate and this into a real estate business. So they are moving, everybody, even coffee business are moving away from their coffee business into data because they are generating. You can see here, Starbucks is not short on data. It has over 30,000 stores worldwide, complete close to 100 million transactions per week. Just imagine what the number of data that they are collecting. So they can decide, okay, they can decide what to sell, what kind of environment they wanted to create for their customer, and what kind of other business that they can do. This is only Starbucks. So next slide, please. 5 examples of how Starbucks use data, targeting customer with personalized promotion and offer. Okay, this is what they do with the data. Insight-driven product development, including across channels. Next. Real estate planning. That's why they are moving into a real estate. They are no longer a coffee business company. That is what you see, coffee business. But at the background, they are moving out from coffee business. Coffee business is just for the branding purpose. Next. Dynamic menu creation adjustment. So when you look at this, they are making a decision what to sell at what price, also based on the data. It's no longer based on their coffee taste. Okay, yes, people are going because Starbucks have a premium coffee, but they making a decision based on the data. Okay, they are no longer making a decision based on their coffee business any longer. Next. Optimize machine maintenance. They have, because you look at Coffee Bean, they are one of the using very premium, high quality coffee machines. So basically, their maintenance also very much depend on the number of coffee they are producing. So everything, every single thing's happening in their outlet is based on data. So you tell me now, if somebody offer you data scientist or data analyst job in Starbucks, so feel weird, right? No, each organization need data guy in their organizations. Next. McDonald's, this is quite interesting. McDonald's invested so about 300 million. The first investment in IT in last 10 years is into a big data. To our surprise, I've asked many, what do you think, what McDonald's, the first thing when they invested in big data, why they need to invest in big data? McDonald's, everybody knows McDonald's, and they don't need a brand, they don't need to invest in a brand, but they going to invest in big data. Why? So the output, the reason being why they invest in big data is something like like unimaginable. Why? The next. Okay, yes, quality improvement, opportunity, move from manual to automate inspection of burger bun production to ensure and improve quality. This is the first thing if they had done it, because before this is, I'm talking about 4 to 5 years back, before this, they found out their bun sizes is different. If you go and buy a burger in McDonald's, and if I buy a McDonald's burger, both of us don't realize that we're getting a different size of bun. So what they did, they took about 1,000 images from the production, then they analyze it. They analyze it. When they took an image and they analyze it, it means 1,000 data, they take and analyze it. They found out basically their production of the bun, different sizes. Next. photo analyze over 1,000 buns per minute for color, shape, and seed distribution. Continually adjust, oven, and process automatically. Then the next. Eliminate thousands of pounds of wasted product per year. So basically, if you really look at this story, you can go and search in Google. Basically, their ROI, the 300 million that which they invested in big data, they recovered within a year just by analyzing it and make their correction on the bun sizes. Just imagine. Another things what they have done it, what McDonald's done it is, in like Western countries, their menu keep changing according to the weather. That means when you go online, you don't see the same menu today and tomorrow at the same time. Okay, if today is very hot, you will see a different menu. If very cold, you will see is a different menu. Even drive-through, they will keep changing it. The menu change according to the weather. That's how people are using data to improve their business. I'd like to share another case also for McDonald's. There's something happened in US where when the daughter wanted to buy, daughter is craving for McDonald's, I think chicken or burger, I'm not so sure. When the father went to the McDonald's, when he ordered for the burger or something. So when the order is ready, the cashier came to him and said, "Okay, this is your order. This is a gift for your future daughter or son, for your future granddaughter or son, something like that." And the father like carried away, "Hey, my daughter just a 16 years old. What are you talking about?" Hey, they said, "No, as this is what's in our data set." So the father so get upset about it. He went back home. He told his daughter, "Hey, what's happening, man? How come the cashier knows that, like he's talking about granddaughter, grandson?" So the daughter is like so worried and scared. And the daughter shared with the father, "Yes, Dad, I'm pregnant." Huh? How come McDonald guy, the cashier knows that I don't know? What happened? So then, of course, he went and complained. He went and, data privacy and so on. They found out that McDonald capturing the cookies, every website. So the daughter is checking in the internet, the Google, to check what is a symptom of pregnant. So these are the things they're capturing, and they're working at the, at the back door. So they're analyzing it, every customer's characteristics, what they do, what do they search. In that level, people are using data to improve their business. Next slide. The company using all of sense. Okay, next. Unlocking big data treasure in aviation industry. Aviation industry, everybody knows that aviation industry, of course, now it's a bad time, but AirAsia, what do really AirAsia do with the data? So next. Okay, what big data? Airlines can now better understand their customer. They can communicate directly. And the best thing is like example, I would like to take AirAsia. So they also study. That means if you're a frequent customer, they know what you really eat during flight. Where is your frequent journey? Based on that, they are customized. That's why they ask you to log in, and they have a big boss or something like that. They got a loyalty card. They tie up all these kind of things to understand about you, and they know when you logged in, you are not the person who would normally go for cheap price or something like that. So that kind of things that airlines industry now into it. Next. And their maintenance, their operations, and how to save more money into a fuel. All these things is based on data. So tell me, if Asia come and tell they wanted to hire big data guys, data scientists, there are opportunity in every industry. Next. Yes, fuel continues to be major cost for all airlines. Fuel efficiency also is a critical to managing the cost. So they are deciding how to minimize the fuel cost based on the data. Next. A bit, how Japan Airlines using data. Okay, they are basically the app deliver a boarding pass with QR code to a passenger. And next, Singapore Airlines signed 5-year deal in June 2015 with Rolls-Royce to use latest big data analytical tools to reduce fuel. So just imagine they sign a deal, Singapore Airlines with Rolls-Royce. Next, AirAsia is set to set a reducing fuel cost. That is very important. They also sign up with GE Fuel Efficiency System Services. And this is target to reducing the operational bottom line at AirAsia by between 30 to 50 million over a 5-year term, just in a fuel. Next, Jet Airways is not far behind. So also, even airline industry in the data, they have to work on data in terms of their business decisions. Next, big data analytics. When we talk about big data, there are many types of analytics. Which analytics that you want to master? You want to work on predictive analytics, financial risk analysis, customer segmentation, product performance. There are many analyses. These are the few of analytical things that basic that required by any business. Social media analytics. Social media is the place where people are now extracting and making a decision on their business. All right, I think that's all on my side. Oh, yeah, after that is how to choose the right analytic trainings for you. Here, I would like to give a explanation in terms of data scientists and data analytics. Many of us always confused with data scientists and data analytics. There's nothing, it's just a title. Okay, just a title. If you look at data scientists, what they need to learn, the one thing that they need to learn is programming. Why programming? Data scientist is the guy who always go and extract a data. In order for you to extract a data from social media or any form of data that you need to extract, you need to know programming, because you need to know the API, and you will learn, then you will extract the data. End of the day, if you compare, the guy who extract the data will pass the data to analytics teams for analyze. So if you ask me in terms of opportunity, data analytics have very much higher opportunity than data scientists. So that's why I always encourage, go into data analytics compared to data scientists. The moment you are in data analytics, it's easier for you to learn the programming part. That's why you need to know to choose the right. Because most of them, they are thinking, hey, I don't know programming, so this is not my line. Not like that at all. If you know Excel, also you can go into the data analytics. Do you know that Excel have that one formula or one tools they call data analysis, which you can do all kind of analysis that Python can do, all kind of analysis that Power BI can do. So we need to know what's the difference between the programming and analytics. So if you ask me, the more opportunity in analytics in the market compared with data scientists, because the guy data scientist also know how to do analytics. He has to know analytics, because it's no point I can get the data, but I don't know how to analyze the data. Next.
I think yeah, it's very important, good point, Mr. Magin. But a lot of people have the doubt that what tool is needed or what tool they must learn to do well in the field. So you mentioned interestingly that Excel also has a data analysis component.
Yes.
Then when does Power BI or other tools needed? Is it when it's very complex?
Data, okay, Power BI is a visualization tool, Chief, where you have a data, when you have a big size, I mean the data size bigger, Power BI can do much more faster process and visualize for you. Okay, but that's why I said Excel, you need to know the fundamental Excel analytical first. If you know Excel analytical, the Power BI become very much easier, because Power BI is processed faster compared to Excel. And you can do a better visualization with Power BI compared to Excel. Okay, that is a difference that we can see between Excel and Power BI. Excel also is one of the best tools to clean up your data set before you export to Power BI.
Okay.
Okay, if you know Power BI and Excel, that means I can consider that you already know the analytical part. That means you become the big data analytics. You didn't know how to analyze it and put it into visual. So easier when come to data visualization, Power BI is the best tool where you can visual and compare your data and the output of the data, output of your analysis.
Right. Oh, good. Interesting. Okay. Oh, next slide. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we come to the end of the session. I think very interesting. A lot of insight. We started off with carriers and big data. Thanks to Ms. Selva again to share that. And I didn't expect so many carriers there. So that's one. And then we came to Mr. Magain in terms of big data. We all know about it somewhere in our work. We would have heard about it, or people will talk about it. But today is a good session where we sat down and went through the areas of it. So now let's say if I'm starting this, right? I don't have experience in this. So you recommend that even picking up Excel, of course, big data, and also Excel to a start, to learn how to clean up the data sets, etc. And then after that, they can transition to a more mature tool, right? Something
Yes.
like that, you see.
Yes.
And in the market, what are the tools that are really in demand right now? Because
Based on my experience, if you're talking about, say, example, recently I've done training for Maybank. To my surprise, 99.9% they're using Excel.
Yeah, banks mostly like that.
Excel. So they asked me to train their stuff on the Excel. Okay, so first thing I tell you, Excel is one of the requirement for big data analytics.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Second is Power BI. Okay, now NIM, KNIM, where can do both jobs. That means if you learn NIM, you consider your data scientist and your data analytic, because in NIM application you can troubleshoot. You can troubleshoot Python programming. You don't need any programming language.
KNIM.
KNIM.
Okay, got it
So
right.
you no need to know any programming language. If you know how to use Power BI, then NIM is very much similar. Drag, drop, drag, drop, drag, drop. Basically, you can bring Python programming and you can do editing. So that's why I say programming is no longer important to become a data scientist if able to understand Power BI. Even in Power BI, there is a script. You need to write a script. But if you know Excel, then writing a script in Power BI is very easy. Say example, when you put equal cell 1 plus cell 2, say example C1 plus C2, then you will get the answer in Excel. But in Power BI, it's a bit different. Equal, they put measure, and you put a bracket, you need to write sum. So it is similar, but there you're writing as though you're writing a script in Power BI. But that's why I said, if you understand Excel, then to learn Power BI or Tableau and NIM is not a matter anymore. So the moment you already know Excel, Power BI, and it goes to NIM, you are ahead of the guy that knows the Python.
I would like to add a few points into Magain's comment. So I personally actually did a few hiring for Citibank some time back. So it was more of data science or data analyst roles, more of from entry level up to 3 years or to 5 years experience. And do you believe the test that they gave, right, is very much into statistics? So a guy like myself from business background, I actually can do the test. So organizations like MNC, a lot of people still have a mindset where they think, oh, only IT guys can go into big data or a big data related roles, right? No, it's not. If you have studied business, you have done statistics, because usually in statistics, there will be assignments where they will give us data. We need to analyze it. We need to come out with graphs. and we need to provide recommendation, right? And we need to compare with different organizations probably, which comes from different data prices and things like that. So if you have done it, maybe you are a fresh graduate or with a 1 year experience, if you have done any projects that related to statistic, you can put it as a supporting document to secure a job into big data as well.
Exactly.
Oh, that's really good. Very good information.
Exactly.
Thank you.
The statistic is because when we receive requirement, a lot of companies, because people still think, oh, maybe banks and IT companies, as Magen said, are using data, right? And these are the industry that usually have big data roles. It's not at all. I would say the top priority industry that currently hiring is into retail, supermarkets, oil and gas. And these companies are actually look for people from engineering background. It's because engineering guys will be studying about mathematics and statistics, which is very much into numbers and data. So it's not IT, it's actually more into math, statistics and numbers.
Because their mindset already into a numbers and data, so
Yes,
easier to transform them.
exactly.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, guys? I think it's very good information. And I did buy one statistics book, but I haven't read it yet. Haven't got to it yet.
Yeah,
But
a lot of companies actually do that. They will give if it's entry level, they will give a very basic statistic test to you. They'll give like 2 days or so. So you need to do that, and you need to provide recommendation, and they will review like how are you actually analyzing the data and how much information you actually gather from that unstructured data and provide the recommendation. And based on that, they interview people, and whoever can, because I have studied statistics, I am able to review the answers, and those people have more relevant answers, right? They got job. So this is being practiced by number of companies.
Yes.
Yeah.
any questions from the guys? Any questions? I see all of you here, so that means the sign is you are interested listening. Maybe is it too technical or a bit complex? Normally we touch on not so deep topics, right? I mean, of course, we touch on job enablement, career, resume writing, and all that. But I thought it's good to demystify this topic. I think big data is very interesting topic. And hey, hi, Mr. Raj. Hi. It's going to be around for quite a while, right? So, and it is getting. I think it will continue to be one of the hot jobs, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think if you do a current search on the job portals, you can see there's a lot of openings still, right, in big data. It's
Yeah,
one of
and I can type here. You can check. There is a website called PayScale. You can check it out if you want to know what type of trending roles are there or salary range in Malaysia. So it's more accurate than Glassdoor, I would say. You can go and check it out based on the years of experience. They actually put the average amount what these people are earning. So as we said earlier, it's not about just data science. It doesn't mean it's a junior role, right? It can be the most senior role with a 10 years experience or whatnot. So don't go for the title. Look into the years of experience, the technology they are looking into, and the organization as a whole. And then you can gauge the salary.
And now also for info, like example, people are on into freelance. That means they are extracting a data. There's one guy I've done. Everybody see there's in McDonald's there's a McCafe, right, Chief? So when you look at the McCafe, nobody thought the McCafe started because one guy have done some paperwork for McDonald's. It's a freelance, all right? So nobody knows basically McCafe. HLFI, do you know that it's direct competitor of Starbucks? Okay, basically based on that purpose, this now they have come out with this cafe. Actually, McCafe is come out with very simple idea by one freelance guy once they study the data, because normally only children or kids are like to go to McDonald's. So that's why they created this for the family, the parents, the father to go and sits there to have a coffee. And it's from one of the class that I conducted for GKK. I asked this is one of the participant to come out to ask him to analyze it, and he come out and show me that yes, the customer is slowly moving from our big data training, Chief. As the trend, that's how I train them. Actually, end of the day, they come out, they show me that's how the transition happened and how slowly the from the Facebook likes and comment, we extracted and we did that.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
So now independently you can work and you can start, if you really like data, you can do a lot of things. You just do that and propose to somebody.
I think internally also, yes, we are looking at a lot of things, and it does help us to make the
Yes.
decisions. In fact, today's webinar is also because of that, because of the surveys and also looking at people's interests,
Yes.
right? So we choose the survey topics. I think it's very interesting. Thank you. Thank you. We have two questions. I think first one, infrastructure experience for 14 years. Is moving to data analytics better or maintaining infrastructure only?
I would say, okay, so this is the issue with people like or employees currently, right? Most of the talent, even including the students, they think that, okay, this is the market now. Everybody go into that. So what happened eventually, the supply become higher and there is no demand. So now people think security is in demand, big data into demand, and everybody go into that. But what happened, all of you guys end up become into operational, administrative, and you can't go up there, even though you get an opportunity. So I would suggest, instead of moving after like 10 or 14, 15 years of experience into in area, and you want to go into a totally different function, why don't you try to move into something that relevant with your experience? So if you're talking about infra, there is a DevOps. That infra roles people can actually go into. So try to go into DevOps, which is more development side and more as an organization as a whole, and also into digital transformation side. So that would be more relevant into experience, and also you're able to get a pay increment instead of you going into big data and start from scratch. So don't follow the demand, because some people think that, okay, infra, there is no demand, it's dying. It's actually not dying, it's just evolving. It's coming to a different phase right now. There is a progress into infra as well. And to be honest, we receive a number of infra roles, but they look for people who are more hands-on or have or know some programming language. So if you're into infra, learn some programming or coding. That would be an added advantage for you, and it would be more relevant for you to look into a better job.
So I would like to add, if you're into infra, you want to move into big data, also it's not a big deal actually. Big data is not a big deal actually. In fact, to learn, because since you're already in that like IT background, to learn the big data is not a big deal. For adding an extra into your CV, I think you can just learn, like this is giving you an added value into your CV. Yeah.
It's a personal interest of you learning, right? But don't think that that's going to, okay, then I can move straight away to a different role or a better salary, because the industry doesn't work like that. People still look for relevant experience after certain years of experience into the career. So moving into purely into that can be challenging, but you could pick up a role or a project that actually relevant to big data if you do some certification or a course that related to data side.
Yeah, thank you. DKK got a lot of projects. This one, I'll maybe you can come volunteer, no problem.
Yeah.
Volunteer service, no charge. No, just kidding. Yeah, but we're analyzing a few things, thinking through a lot of stuff. But yeah, good. Thanks. Very good points. Very good point. Okay, last one. How big data was protected from hacker? The cyber security came to the picture. Of course, I think that the risk of security is always there, correct? Again, anything you want to share?
It's end of the day, it's like how well you protect your data, as if, like with all your firewall and, like it's even a bank, their data, they have a hackers they're facing, like it's end of the day is how well you want to protect, how much you want to invest in your cyber securities.
So that there are plenty of because everything is going into cloud, and of course it's very protected, like Azure, AWS, and all that. But is your company willing to invest into that before hacking happen? Because always the cybersecurity budget before hacking happen will be this, and then all of a sudden it goes like that after they demand for ransomware, right?
Yes.
So it's a very organizational base. So this is a question you're supposed to ask to the organization when you go for an interview. How protected is your data? How much have you invested, or what is your long-term plan in terms of securing the data? If you're going for, it's not only for big data interview, regardless, it could be infra or app, whatever roles that you're going into, there's something that you can actually ask the company.
And another thing is also, you as a data scientist or data analytic, it's your integrity of protecting the data that you work, okay, in your organization. You know, like how well the server has been protected, but you yourself like steal the data and sell to somebody, you know, it's the end of the day is integrity. As a data analytic, you must have very high integrity to protect the information that you are work on.
Right. I think that's very important. That's where also the I think it's surrounded around with the ISO 27001, right?
Yes,
Security
yes,
standards, audit trail, making sure that when you access, like I remember when I used to work for the bank, there's this system where you can access every customer's age and how much they balance and all that. So it was tightly controlled audit trail, right? Until a point where they found out that one of the senior executives, they are actually checking the age of the lady. What the hell? That guy got, but you said audit trail is so strong, right? So you can't
yeah.
tamper with the data. Yeah, you went and queried, then you got fired, right? Because you are unnecessarily going and looking at those things.
So
So
there's a cases where they got this guy stealing 1 cent and become, you know, the
yeah,
Ferrari.
Yeah.
so all these things are there. So we have to build the how to say the that's where the security guys come into play,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Maybe yeah, I think cyber security is Ma'am Selva's key area, right? Maybe we should plan something in the future after I run
Yes.
some polls and analyze. But that's interesting. I think another question, someone private PM me, what are the certifications that are really recognized? I'll take that up and then you guys can share. So basically, I understand the market looking at it. Microsoft has its own, right? I think that's where we are offering the DA 100 Microsoft certification. CCSD is a new body from Europe where they are having the big data certifications. We have together two under the SOXO EIS program. Those who are retrenched can take it up for free. Then of course you have other players. AWS has its own. Power BI, yes, Power BI got certification also. So all there are different certification, but like what Selva clearly highlighted, certification is one, experience is second. 1+1 = 2, right? Oh yeah, that's a good formula. 1+1 = 2. So yeah, I don't think any other training provider is going to say that. Maybe other training providers are going to kill me for saying that, but I believe
Yeah.
it's fair, right? But if you have, again, it doesn't. If you have some experience coupled with the certification, it's really good. So yeah, anytime you guys can, how to say, look us up. You can ask those questions. We can definitely guide you. Feel free to drop a note. Yeah, any other questions? Anything else I want to ask? If you have any questions, you can feel free to drop me an email or WhatsApp me. I can always guide you. Thank you very much for your time, Selva and Mr. Magin.
Thank
Thank
you.
I
you.
really appreciate it. I think very short notice and also your busy schedule. Work from home, I know, has become longer hours. Sometimes I see Mr. Selva's email at 6 in the morning and then night 11, and then Magin also same late nights, all crazy hours, right? Thanks for your time. I really hope it's helpful for you all. Didn't see much questions from you all. Maybe it's a bit dense topic. If you have any other questions after this, feel free to drop a note. One lasting favor, really appreciate if you can drop a note on GKK Facebook or Google review on how you found the session. That's the fuel that keeps us going. It's also the data, like what Maggie mentioned. I realized another milestone. Thanks to you all. I think thanks to partners like Magin and Miss Selva and also all of you. I think we are the highest reviewed training provider in Malaysia. We got about 500 plus reviews together, Facebook and Google. I think that's really good. Thank you all for your support on that. Right. And if those looking out for a job, please visit synopsis.com, right, Miss
Yeah,
Selva?
I can type it out here.
Yeah. So I believe that will help you all. I know some of you on the call are looking out for jobs, career change, or retrenched, looking out for a new role. Keep that going. Yeah. So all the best. Hope to see you all in the next session. Thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Bye-bye.
opportunity.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.